Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your libertarian car guy. I'm driving the 2019 Volvo S60 sedan this week, and I thought I'd start with a video to show you some of the inside details of the car, because they're as interesting as the exterior details of the car. I can't show you the exterior right now, obviously, because I'm driving, but it's very un-Volvo in that it is a good-looking car. Sleek, sexy, youthful, everything that Volvos didn't used to be. Instead of Mrs. Doubtfire, you've got Agnetha Folksam from ABBA, except back in the day when she was really hot. But I'll stop there until I can get outside and show you the exterior of the car. What I wanted to show you is something unusual about the interior of the car. Of course, we've got the large LCD main instrument cluster, and that's fairly common nowadays in higher-end cars. What's not so common is the secondary LCD cluster, which is almost entirely pinch swipe smartphone interaction style. Volvo has decided to kind of leapfrog ahead where the technology is inevitably headed, and has eliminated most of the buttons for most of the secondary controls. As you can see, you've got a big knob here that you can use to adjust the volume, and you've got a few other knobs here that you can use to adjust some of the climate control functions, but almost everything else is here. And it's a little bit daunting if you did not grow up with smartphones. So people over 40 are going to find this a little bit challenging. You know, you go like that, and pinch and swipe to get it to do things. The youth will, of course, find this very native, and that's actually Volvo is targeting. And in another interesting switch around, Volvo used to be sort of the crotchety old person's car. The car for the person who was very conservative and safe, safety-minded, wanted a big, heavy tank, didn't really care about the performance, was mostly concerned about what would happen if something went awry. Whereas today's Volvo is, in my opinion, arguably the most cutting-edge, youth-oriented, high-end brand on the market. Much less stodgy than BMW and Mercedes. And they're going to get mad at me for saying that, but it's the truth. You'll see, and this is just an example of it. Some other incidental things, and actually they're not incidental, but they're actually really worth mentioning. Volvo offers a top-shelf Bowers & Wilkins premium audio system in the S60, and I personally, having tested pretty much all of them on the market, find it to be the finest audio quality. Now, I know that's subjective, and your mileage may vary, but I've tried out all the Burmester rigs and the Infinity rigs and all the other high-end rigs. All of them are really good, but these Bowers & Wilkins deals, you can turn them up to the absolute maximum volume and put on your favorite 80s hair band or whatever it is you listen to, and at least to my ear, there's no distortion. Literally no distortion. It's phenomenal. You have to experience it to believe it. Another thing about these Volvos, and it's not just the S60, and this has been true for a long time of Volvos, and thank God they didn't change this. The seats in these cars are phenomenal. Phenomenal. They are the most comfortable seats of any car, in my opinion, and I've driven them all on the road. Again, your body type may vary, but if you go online or if you read reviews, you'll find almost universal acclaim. I try to pan over to show you the passenger seat. You can see kind of how it looks. They're really well put together. I don't know exactly what they did to tweak them to make them so perfectly yin-yang, compliant, and yet supportive. They're firm, but they're not too firm. They're seats that you can sit in for 5 or 6 hours without a break, if you don't have to stop and pee, still feel your butt cheeks when you get out of the car. And that is no small achievement. And final point of order, before I stop yakking and get back to driving this thing, the S60 is the only car in the class that offers a turbo and supercharged engine. Yep, a turbo and a supercharger. And if you're wondering why anybody would do that other than just to say, hey, look what we did, there's actually a really good reason for it. Turbos don't build boost until exhaust pressure drives the turbine that pressurizes the incoming air mix. So there's always going to be a little bit of a lag in between the time that you floor the gas pedal and the time that the boost builds. Now, they've done a really good job of minimizing that by snugging the turbocharger right up next to the cylinder head, almost at the exhaust port, so that the exhaust gas hits it almost immediately. But there's still going to be that little bit of a lag. So Volvo's idea was, well, let's put a mechanically driven supercharger in there to provide that instant surge of boost, and then we can supplement that with the turbo. So that's what they've done here. So you've got this little 2-liter engine in this thing. Scales all the way to 415 horsepower in the hybrid version, and then hybrid Polestar version, and 400 in just the regular hybrid version, and then 316 out of 2 liters. Out of 2 liters of engine without any hybrid help, and even the base trim has 250 horsepower, which is very solid. When you cross-shop this thing against, say, the Mercedes CLA, which only has 208 horsepower, and the current BMW 3 Series, which comes standard with 255. So it's a pretty impressive package. I've not always been the most excited person when it comes to Volvos, because 20 years ago they were old people cars. Good cars, great cars, but old people cars. They're not anymore. So if you want something that more than delivers all of the safety stuff that everybody's enamored of these days, plus the things that used to make driving so much fun and so exciting and make you want to spend money on a car, you really ought to check this thing out. It's a hoot. I'll have more up at epautos.com, the web's best libertarian gearhead site. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you again soon.